Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions. This is episode 71. So, a little bit of a strange and now shorter episode for a couple of reasons. One, I don't have my glasses on. It's later at night, and I discovered that there's an issue. Two, that every once in a while when I do an update to the computer, usually I have a routine to go through and make sure that everything has functioned properly after executing an update, and I forget one out of every 5 times. And it always seems to be that one time that I didn't go back and check my checklist and make sure that everything's functioning properly, that it turns out that it's not functioning properly. I just have terrible luck when it comes to that. So I have no game audio for this one, and I'm having to re-record the voiceover here pretty late at night when I was going through and editing and discovering said problem. Anyway, we are at Milano Sanremo. It's a monument. It's a major race. There's a lot of points at hand for this one. The team that I brought here to this race was a mixed team. I brought a couple of sprinters going, hey, technically on paper it's a sprint race and it's going to come down to sprinters at the end. But with the climbs along the way, especially the last two that we are already approaching here, I figured that there was enough climbing involved that maybe it would be suitable for our other guys. Unfortunately, De Villiers and Daniels, the two sprinters, are the only two guys in red. They both have a negative race day condition. So as we approach that climb, I'm going to try to get through the first one in one piece. Where I've rolled all the way up to a 90 to have them try to hang on. But I've decided that those sprinters, there's no way. With bad climbing to begin with and a negative race day condition, they're not going to be hanging on. They're not going to be strong enough to contribute. There is no breakaway now. The field's already caught. It's already bunched together. 25k to go as we approach the top of these the first of the final two climbs, that is. It's definitely taken its toll on us. We are feeling the fatigue of the climb, but we seem to be hanging on. So we are in place suitably, and we get over the top with the field totally intact. In fact, just one rider dropped, and I think it was the one rider who was in the breakaway all day. They had an 11-minute advantage early on, and we eventually pulled them back. So here we are, continuing that work, continuing that phase. 17k to go. Now just one climb left. We are getting the attack of Matthew van der Poel plus one other rider here. Very dangerous combination to get away, and I'm not quite strong enough to do all the pulling, and there is pulling here, but they've still established a little bit of a break. But we're going to go ahead and set up, just in case, sprinters on the back, and then everybody else for 13k to go. So we've got it ordered. Kareem leading it out and starting to pull back. If he can get to the front, he can start to stretch the field, and it'll be a little easier to get everyone else through. Careless is just a few bike lengths back. He finally finds that gap, starts to pull through, and then behind him, Johannes Dalek now starting to pull through. So we're just about in the position we need to be in and beginning that proper chase as we went under 10k and begin the final climb of the day. We pull back the first rider, and now it's just one guy left right ahead of us. Matthew van der Poel not far ahead. We peel off with Kareem. Carolus is going 99. We've caught the front man. And then we are done with Carolus. Johannes Dalek, not much left. Everybody feeling it quite a bit. For a moment, we split the field, and Van der Poel on the attack once again. He had plenty in reserve. Johannes Dalek, he's used everything he's got, but now on to Janssen. Trying to reorder things, keep things going. It pulled back together. We've got little splits here and there as guys are definitely feeling it in their legs, but now with just 5k to go, we go over the top in a wonderful position. Van der Poel 6 bike lengths ahead. Janssen leading out a team of riders who are placed at the front. We have the track position. You can see Janssen, Samuels, Johannes Dalek, and then there's little gaps behind. We have multiple bike lengths through this technical section. We were a little bit out of order. I wanted Samuels behind Johannes Dalek. No idea how that got swapped, but we get that swap back around. And Johannes Dalek trying to come through is actually going to give a little advantage to Janssen, who I start his sprint on, and you can see he's now multiple bike lengths ahead. Meanwhile, Vanderpool has pulled away. He's that amazing. And as we go into the final kilometer, and everybody else, everyone, prepared to sprint now and go for it, what they have left, Vanderpool's going to take the win. But meanwhile, here comes the chasing pack. They're not going to catch Janssen. We don't get the win, but we get second place before the sprinters start coming in. And Philipsen, Careless grabs fourth. Samuels grabs fifth. More sprinters. But then Johannes Dalek at 10th. De Villiers at 12th. We've got Kareem at 19th. Even Daniels, our last place rider, just finished 22nd. Now, winning a monument very well could be worth a point for the nation. But having all of the riders in the top 22, including one rider on the podium, that is worth a huge haul of points. So we move on into our next race. It's the Catalonia race. First stage, it's a punchy one, so you can't leave it alone, but it's a very, very straightforward race. We do not have Samuels here at this one. Catalonia is not a major race. It's a World Tour B race. I mean, it's kind of a big race, but with a time trial involved, it's not worth it to bring Samuels, as that's his weakness. So our leader here, Motoni. And that's the thing. I have to get used to, I can't just have one rider all the time. He can't handle a World Tour schedule, the entirety of the World Tour schedule alone. It's going to take a team to get through all these races. So we've got to start relying on more leaders more often. Motoni, that leader for this Catalonia race. The whole team gets through just fine for this first stage. Enough so that there's no sprinters here. We have no chance with the entire field minus a handful of riders off the back. Just a handful, 162 here. Still chasing one rider at the front, but as we get down to the final 5 kilometers, he gets caught, and I just cruise to the finish. In the last, 2 kilometers, I push forward. But I have said this many times before, firm believer that you never bypass a chance to take a team time trial. It's such a unique skill set trying to manage a team time trial. You've got to practice every time you get a chance because they just don't come up that often. Individual time trials are pretty straightforward, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tries at it. The team time trial, one shot, one and done. This, not a major race, just an opportunity for a team time trial. 13K is all, 13.7K. I've got our best time trialist in Roteasier here, and he's on a +3 race day condition. And then I also have one other good time trialist, Banuna, and one other okay time trialist in Careless. Careless, with a +3, today has a 74 time trial. I'm going to do the entire time trial with just those 3 riders. Roteasier, Banuna, pulling, really putting the time in and the effort in, rolling at an 87. And then Careless, much less time, but spending a little time on the front just to give a little break to the others. But the big thing here is I might have 3 good time trialists, but I have 3 weak time trialists. And those 3 weaker time trialists, the key is managing their effort. Not the guys who are pulling at the front, who are doing all the work and should be getting exhausted. It's about getting the other guys across the line because we need 5 of them to cross that line because the time is taken on the 5th man. So we can only afford to drop a single rider, and we got 3 weaker guys. So looking at Mohira, yeah, he's pretty tired, but he's hanging in there. Janssen, he's not going to last long. Janssen's going to get dropped. Mollebron, the 3rd guy, he's doing pretty okay. But the Mohira and Mollebron, that's the 2 right now, right? It's quite clear to me that Janssen is going to be dropped. With Janssen going out the back, we've got to then just focus on Mollebron and Mohira. You can see that Mollebron and Mohira both with 5K left, starting to fade, right? They got less red bar than they've got distance left to cover. So I'm definitely starting to micromanage things. Also, when you have riders not taking turns and just stacked, if one of those riders drops and somebody's behind them, they're both going to drop off. Crazy but true. So you've got to be really careful. So I had to manipulate these guys to get Janssen to the back, and there is Janssen now falling off. Inside 2K, Mulebron, Mohira hanging on. We had to back off to an 86 to get them over the line, but here they are now with 700 meters to go, a little bit of energy to go. We're going to put that relay on Mulebron and try to get him to squeeze forward and get him sideways with his teammate, and he does. And we go to the top of the time charts. We're just the 7th team to cross the line. But on the pre-race favorites list, 10 teams listed, we weren't even on the favorites list at all. At all. And as we push to the end of the stage, we've done it. We've claimed victory. It's a 2.1 race, Settimana. It does not put us into the overall race lead at stage 2. Stage 1, there was a small breakaway, and Kevin Vermark holds the overall lead. We close that gap. We move into a very strong podium position. Good chance of points for that 2.1 race. But now we move into another time trial. Same day, different time trial. We're actually back over at the Catalonia race, the one that we are actually focused on here. This one being the individual time trial. And De Villiers has already set off. Trying to manage this one. It's definitely longer. There's definitely more going on. And it's individual based. So managing that effort happens a little more carefully. Also, unlike the other one, there's undulation here. Little up and down to it. So really fixing the effort, it's taken a bit to decide what it's going to take to get us over the line. De Villiers, he had a bit left in the tank. Just 85th, 350 down, but he's a 66 time trialist. We don't care about him. It was about getting it right. I went too soft early on. I pushed harder later on. Still didn't matter. Bari pushed a little bit harder early on. We look definitely closer with just over 2K left that he's going to be okay. But here comes a trio of riders. Habtum setting off. -4 race day condition, not good for him. But here's Musa, the next guy, setting off. We're trying an 83 for Habtum. We're going to try an 82 for Musa. And here comes Matoni ready to set off as well. I don't quite catch it immediately, but we get him just slightly off the line. +4 race day condition for the leader of this race, of our team. 75 time trial base, but with a +4 race day condition. He's got a +4 to his time trial. He's got a plus eyes, no glasses, smaller screen. It was like a +6 to the prologue. It is a mixture of the two. That's all you can hope for with Matoni. I mean, that was a phenomenal draw. His expected is a +3. He is on a fitness peak right now, but still, great draw, great setup, really good opportunity for him. But we're still trying to find that balance. Habtum, the 83, seems to be fine. Musa, I actually rolled up to an 83. Fournier going past him, though, much faster. Musa trailing behind. Ashimwe has set off, but I haven't focused on him just yet. I've been focused on this trio that's riding in together. You can see Habtum, as he hits the line, he had a little bit left, but that's because I wasn't managing him at the end, and it definitely wasn't much. So setting Musa up now, trying to get pushed, trying to get the maximum there, and I thought that Matoni had further to go, but here's Matoni coming up right on the line. I was way too late on this one. I should have known better that a faster time trialist right behind his teammate was going to be gaining ground on him. My bad there. But it's still a phenomenal time for Matoni. 18th. Less than a minute behind. Here's Ashimwe. Ashimwe's on a +4. Now, I've not managed him up to this point, but he was 14th. Just 18 seconds down at the first time check. But that red bar is greatly diminished. Greatly diminished for him. Johannes Dalek ready to set off. He's 29th overall, so we were well down the order in that safe first stage that we just ran a little bit ago as Johannes Dalek sets off. But he's got a +5 race day condition, so he's looking really good too. Shimway, with his bonuses, he's got a 77.82. If my eyes are functioning correctly. And as the Shimway approaches the line, he's still in the top 20 at the second time check, and we had to back off with him, remember? And he is actually much closer to having expended all of his energy. The AI has actually done us a service. It's done as well. A Shimway finishes ahead of Mutoni, even though he was about a point worse, maybe 2 points worse, 4 seconds better off, and now focused on Johannes Dalek to try to finish things up. He's just past the halfway stage. We took it a little bit easier with him early to where he was just 27 seconds down at the first check, but he's able to push a lot harder now, a lot earlier on. He's got an 85 prologue and an 82 time trial, and he's into the top 10 at the second time check. After we took control, he lost just 1 second over that stretch, and as he approaches the line, trying to maximize everything, he's all the way up into 5th place, just 23 seconds down. So all 3 of our potential top climbers, all of them are in the top 25. Johannes Dalek is 5th, and as we speed up through the last 28 riders, we're not dropping off much. Remco Evenepoel does go to the top of the standings on 10ths of a second ahead of Gallo and Foss, and wins the stage. But otherwise, Johannes Dalek stays all the way up in 7th. There is good riders around, though. Foss, Ayuso, Jorgensen. Pegasher was right behind us. Anna Shimway gets 26th, and Mutoni gets 30th. Overall, you gotta say that's a really good result. Roughly 1 minute for all 3 guys, or half a minute in the case of one. That's a big boost for us. I like where that's setting us up for the race to come. It's going to give us a real shot at getting a decent result. Following Milano Sanremo and that huge haul of points that we got, progressing a couple days for those points to actually show up on the table, we are now first freaking place. We're first place right now in the rankings. Comfortably. We've got almost 5,000 points already. Looking at Africa, Samuels, Janssen, Ashimwe, now the top 3. Girmay is off the podium. Girmay, phenomenal rider, is just 4th place in the African rankings. And we've got the top 3 above him. We've almost, minus Girmay, we've almost swept the top 10. Menkes has fallen all the way to 10th place. And looking at these points hauls, it's big. It's big. Johannes Dalek got 135 points. It's his 3rd biggest result. It's 10 points away from being his 2nd biggest result. He was nowhere near the front of that. He was on the lower end. These guys really, really pulled in some points. Janssen jumped from 6th to 2nd in the rankings. Carolus jumped from 19th to 7th. Now, the individual rankings, that's over the course of a whole year. As you proceed in the calendar race by race, it replaces last year's points haul for that race with this year's points haul for that race. So you only lose points after 12 full months have gone by. This is an insane place to be. We're not going to stay on top of the rankings, folks. We are not that good. But we didn't win the race. But we got the whole team near the top, and it gave us this massive points haul. And we're not just up by a little. We are up by a lot right now. Doesn't matter where we are compared to the World Tour teams. It's comparative to the Continental Pro teams, of course. That matters for the rankings. But that has put us in such a good place to start this season. It's also, the sponsor confidence is like through the freaking roof right now. So we've got that 100% locked up. We're off to a good start for the year, but we got to keep working for a couple of reasons. Girmay triggered training increases for Eritrea in the past. We've got guys for South Africa that can do the same. We've got guys for Rwanda that can do that with the points we're bringing in right now as a team. Now, individually, right, we're not in the top 10 or anything like that, but we're well placed. We're scoring a lot of points. It's only March. If we could keep doing this all season long, there is a very good chance that we can trigger a training point for one of these nations. There's a very good chance that we can turn a podium at Milano Sanremo into a victory somewhere, especially in, like, say, a Grand Tour stage victories. We're going to be targeting stage victories, not GC. We have got to do those little things that are going to put us in a strong position. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.